Thanks for tuning in again today for segment 7. Um, we're looking at the fraction practice on section 7. And we start off with comparing fractions, then adding and subtracting fractions, multiplying, dividing fractions. So we'll just kind of go through a couple off of each section. So make sure we all know how to do it. So one way of doing greater than, less than, or equal to is you can do cross product. And in doing cross product, you will need to do is multiply across. So 11 times 5 will give you 55. And then 9 times 4 will give you 45. So then you compare those two numbers, and 5/9 is larger than 5/11. So you will take the less than sign. Let's do F as well. So you have two examples to work from. You have 18 times 9. Gives you 152. Then you have 13 times 16. Which gives you 208. So in this case, once again, 9/16 is less than 13/18. So you're just cross producting, going across, getting that numerator, doing the same thing on this side, and whichever one is greater, that's where you put the open-ended figure to. Next, we have finding the sum and differences, and then placing them in lowest term. So as we did earlier this week, one way of doing adding and subtracting fractions with different denominators is doing the butterfly method, which you take 3 times 4, and it gives you 12. And then you go 9 times 2, which gives you 18. And there's a subtraction sign, so you keep that. And then you do the product of the denominator. So doing the product of the denominator gives you 3 times 9, which is 27. You go ahead and do your subtraction. 18 minus 12 gives you 6. And then you bring your 27 over. Now we look to see if that's in lowest term. We look at see what's the greatest common factor of each one. And it appears to be 3 they would have in common. So you divide this by 3 and you get 2. And then you divide 27 by 3 and you get 9. So your answer is 2/9. So let me do one more kind of in the open where I have a little more space so you can kind of see that more clearly. I'm going to go with E. So you have 2/3 minus 5/11. So you're going to cross product going across. 11 times 2 gives you 22. Then you cross product on this side, which 3 times 5 gives you 15. So we have 22 minus 15. And then you're going to cross product across the bottom, which gives you 3 times 11, which is 33. Now you subtract 22 and 15 and you get 6. Bring your 33 over. So you just shift that over. Find the greatest common denominator out of both, which will be 3. So then you divide that by 3, get 2. Divide this by 3, you get 11. So our answer is 2/11. So now, adding and subtraction fractions with whole numbers can be a little more trickier. But if you remember how to take mixed numbers and make them into improper fractions, you multiply the denominator times the whole number, which is 9, and then 9 plus 2, which gives you 11. And you keep the denominator. You do the same thing to the next number, which is 9 times 1 is 9, plus 5 makes that 14. And again, keep the denominator. So you have 11 plus 14, which is 25. Actually, that's not correct, because we have 2 different denominators. So we'll continue to do our cross product. 11 times 9 is 99. 3 times 14 . 42. And then you cross product around the bottom to bottom, which is 3 times 9 is 27. So now you have 99 plus 42, which gives you 141. Divide that by 27. Twenty-seven goes into 141 5 times evenly. With 6 left over 27. We simplify. By 3 gives you a 2. By 3 gives you a 9. So your answer is 5 and 2/9. So now let's look at multiplying fractions. So in multiplying fractions, you put them in improper fractions. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 1 is 13. You keep your denominator. You multiply across. 1 times 6 is 6. 6 goes into 52, 8 times evenly, which is 48. With 4 left over, keep your denominator. You have 8. Simplify this as well. So 4 divided by 2 gives you 2. 6 divided by 2 gives you 3. So it gives you an answer of 8 2/3 for A. All right, now number 6, which is dividing fractions. So when you're dividing fractions, you must use the rule, keep, change, flip. What that looks like is you're going to keep the 6, change the operation to multiplication, and flip the second number, which is 6 over 5. And then you solve. So 6 times 6 is 36. 1 times 5 is 5. 5 goes into 36 7 times, 1 left over, and then you have 5 as the denominator. So your answer is 7 1/5. All right, so just to kind of recap here with adding and subtracting fractions, you want to find the same denominator. In doing so, a shortcut way would be the butterfly method, which is to cross product both sides and then multiply both denominators. When you're multiplying fractions, you are just multiplying across and then simplifying. Now, if you're multiplying fractions with whole numbers, then you want to make them into improper fractions and then go ahead and follow the steps of multiplying fractions and then simplify. So that concludes session 7 on the homework. If you have any questions, again, please reach out to me through the Remind app or through my email, which is on the Southwest Leadership Academy website, as well as examples. All right, that concludes our session for today, and have a wonderful afternoon.